Yeah. Assured me.
I think that's all they have. I mean, they haven't really been using that either, have they?
Yeah, I get that.
That's where you are.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I suspected that he was so optimistic. I'm thinking one person was not speaking. But who am I to say anything? They can go try to figure that out.
We left the door open.
We're
I
not
bet
live
he
yet.
was so disappointed
Unmuted.
because he was so sure.
Excited.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting on GTV till that.
I just hope that they're not
Track it.
personal.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good conversation. That's good. No, it's
Yeah, it's your match. Yeah. Excellent.
Even those.
Paul
About the
doesn't really
transfer.
like that.
We're live.
Because even if, I mean, even like I said, even if they do they're still considered the bottom.
Yeah.
And so by state law, our ordinance, he still has to do with something.
Yeah.
Excessive.
Yeah.
So it works for everybody.
That's right.
We're live. All right.
Okay. All right. Welcome to day 3 of our fiscal year 2027 budget sessions. Just kind of a reminder. These are just the requests. Nothing is recommended. Nothing's adopted at this point. There are certainly, while most funds are balanced, not all funds are balanced as part of the request. One of the biggest expenses, at least within the general fund, that are not yet available to us are the constitutional officers' budgets. Those budgets, excuse me, are due to the Board of County Commissioners June 1st. So we will include those when we have that information. As well, on the revenue side, property tax final valuations are not really finalized until July 1st. So all of that information will be incorporated at the recommended budget. Just kind of a reminder as well, these are meant to be a discussion between the departments and county administration. So no public, public is welcome to attend. No comments, just kind of really just listening through the process. So, and on that, really, there is no requirement to hold these meetings. Definitely not to hold them in public. That's a choice that the county administrator has made, just to really be more open and transparent. So, really, with that, we'll get into it, Dan.
All right. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Dan Woodcraft, Director of Facilities. With me today, Lisa Pellegrini, Assistant Director of Administration, and Justin Newell, who is our Business Manager. So we'll be kind of tag teaming this presentation. And today's agenda, we'll give a kind of a high-level overview of our 27 budget proposal. We'll touch on some highlights of the current fiscal year 26. Lisa's going to talk about our preservation program that we have in place. We're going to talk a little bit about utilities and how that coincides with our energy management program, the challenges and opportunities that we see for fiscal year 27, kind of a quick summary, and then of course at the end we'll leave time for some questions. So unless anybody has anything before we start, we'll dive right in. Okay, all right. So I'm just going to kind of kick it off. We are asking for a 3.54 increase in our operational budget for fiscal year 27. And Lisa's going to kind of go through these 4 bullets.
Well, good morning, everybody. Facilities management consists of 5 different departments. So it's facilities maintenance, building operations, the port annexes, Hastings, and Sheriff's Complex. Key components to our budget include no asks for new positions, no asks for new vehicles, There are 6 replacement vehicles per the fleet metric program, and that consists of 4 in facilities maintenance and 2 in sheriff's complex. In FY27, we will be adding 100,000 square feet of conditioned space to our inventory of 2.3 million square feet of maintained buildings. This represents a 4.3% increase to our building maintenance portfolio.
So we kind of highlighted this because it will come into play as we get deeper into it and how it plays into that operational increase that we are requesting. So to touch on some highlights, so fiscal year 25, the Board of County Commissioners approved our space utilization plan. So this consisted of renovating what is now the former permit center, the expansion of the medical examiner building, and the addition of 2 new courtrooms over in our court complex. So we're kind of highlighting what is now the former permit center and the courtroom projects because they play a big role. When the new permit center came online, the county basically inherited roughly about 30,000 square feet of the former permit center. What that did, it allowed us a lot of flexibility. So we are currently deep into the process of relocating certain departments into this former center. One of them being the clerk of the court. So there are 3 divisions within the clerk that will be relocating over to the permit center. So this accomplished 2 things. It kind of completes the vision of the county administrator for the one-stop shop. So you'll be able to go to this service center, get a marriage license, you can get married, you can pull a permit, you can apply for a clearance sheet, you can record a notice of commencement, among other things. And also, maybe even bigger, is it freed up space over at the court complex that allows us to add 2 new courtrooms. So if you recall, the county engaged with a consultant about 3 years ago to do a space needs study. And one of them was to add a fairly large addition to the courthouse to the tune of roughly $60 million. Really not feasible at this particular time. So for a fraction of the price, we are able to repurpose some underutilized space for a mere fraction of that cost. And we are currently probably 50% into design of those new courtrooms. Another highlight was the forming of the CIP committee. So with the bond projects, this came out of the bond projects. So the 4 new regional parks, the new libraries / community centers, and the public safety projects, administration saw the need justifiably to create an oversight committee. So the number 1 purpose for this committee is for us to stay within that approved Board of County Commissioners budget. That was approved by the commission. So that, again, is the number 1 focus of that committee. And then the energy management program. So if you recall, in 2025, we had a pilot program that was focused here on the administration building. So out of the success of that pilot program, the board approved in fiscal year 2025 that commenced in fiscal year 2026, the first county energy management policy that is now countywide. So we'll touch a little bit more on that when we start talking about utilities, and then our preservation program. And then I'm going to turn it over to Lisa to let her talk about that.
So this is going to be our 3rd year of preservation programming, and it's divided into 5 different categories. So it's HVAC, building exterior and pathways, building interior, fire rescue, electrical and life safety, and plumbing. Preservation funding really focuses on preserving our assets, which over time decreases our annual operating building maintenance budget. In FY27, we are proposing a level increase of the $4,650,000. However, you'll notice that there's a little bit of a breakdown change. So we're decreasing HVAC and building exterior pathways by $100,000 and putting that $200,000 back into building interiors. We love the preservation program because it's really data-driven. Every project that gets assigned, there's some really good hard data behind it. So it's good with that. It's also very, very flexible because it allows us to pivot to different projects as the needs come available. So whether it's a surprise thing or there's some urgency or something, but it makes it very easy to change projects. It's very transparent because every single project is identified by a separate project code that's incorporated into Workday. You will note that there's a final year of the $850,000, and that really lies within the building interiors, but it's for the fire renovation projects, and that is for the renovation of existing fire departments. So that's the $850 that's in there. It's also really important to note that the highlights that we just discussed about the budget really reflect back to the components of the county strategic plan. And that is according to infrastructure, ensuring community well-being. It promotes organizational excellence because it focuses on us all working together as a team, and it provides transparency. So all of those things really translate back to being good stewards of tax dollars.
So on the agenda, we had energy management and / utilities. So a lot of information on this slide. So we'll kind of break it down. So as Lisa mentioned earlier, the county is going to be adding roughly 100,000 square feet of conditioned space. So that is kind of the component here, is the conditioned portion of that. So out of that 100,000 square feet, about a quarter of that actually is within facilities management as it relates to actually paying the utility bill. The balance of that is spread out into other departments who are responsible for paying, in this case, most likely FP&L. So that 25% represents about 1% of FM's portfolio related to paying the utility bills. So that equates to about a $58,000 increase for fiscal year 28, just under 3% increase. So how did we get there? So the current fiscal year 26 FP&L increased their utility rates, commercial utility rates, by 5.8%. In that FY27, there is a proposed increase of 3.8%. You add in that 1% of new facilities that FM is responsible for, and we are in excess of 10% increase. But you'll see that we are only requiring or requesting less than 3% increase in our utility budget. So that delta of roughly 8% is really what we see as validation that we are moving in the right direction as far as our energy management program. And I will say that we are really just scratching the surface on the energy management program. I mean, there are a number of things that we continue to do that should really just increase our ability for cost avoidance. Right now, when the plan was put together, we laid out a 5% reduction over 5 years. So right now we are tracking right around 8% on that. So we are happy with the way the program is currently trending, and we continue, I think, to put things in place that will make it even better.
So just translate, I trying to understand this correctly. Adding the space, conserving energy net at 8% savings.
Cost avoidance. Yeah,
cost
with the
avoidance.
savings.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Gotcha. And then that is based on, the current facilities that you have included in the conservation, energy conservation program, but there are more.
Yes, so
to
we
be
will-
added.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah, as we bring new, so again, what I find impressive, this is adding, 100,000 square feet. Now, keep in mind, for the 100,000 square feet, we have 100% of the maintenance of those.
Right.
But right now, we are only responsible for about 25% of actually paying the utility bill. Now, we do oversee all of the utilities that is scalable with the energy management program. But what we are actually measuring and monitoring via the utility invoices is that 25% that falls within our budget.
Is 100% of 100,000 square feet of new space or new space that didn't exist the last
Yeah,
year?
so that's what we
Rather than
combine.
shifting, okay,
Yes, which is about 4.3% of the county's overall building portfolio.
okay.
Dan, if I may, and
Yes.
how is oil prices affecting what you're projecting for future?
That what we're not currently seeing, it's not currently impacting us. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a lot of thought that goes into making a good budget. And, we faced a lot of different challenges. Basically a 28% increase in contractual expenses. The additional expenses that Dan just talked about with the 100,000 square feet of new conditioned space and the anticipated utility increase of 2.74%. We're able to absorb these increased costs by not asking for additional staff, not asking for new vehicles, and by utilizing our talented staff effectively. And for example, we ended up consolidating all the trades into the facilities maintenance department 0031, which is over at Dobbs. And that allowed us to maximize our resources across the county for HVAC, for plumbing, mechanical, etc. So always being the optimistic person, we see FY27 as providing opportunities that's really going to prepare us to lead effectively, not just in next year, but in 2028 and beyond. And to name a few, we'd like to really continue to leverage the preservation program because it lowers, it's really something where it increases the value of your assets, but then it lowers the building operations, the building maintenance account. We want to scale back, we want to continue to scale the energy management program because we see that as a success. And as Dan has stated, we just scratched the surface on it. We will be implementing a new CMMS asset management, or it's really a work order system that's going to go live beginning of 27. And what that'll do is that's going to help us improve our ability to identify life cycle costs with our assets.
Another opportunity for 27, and actually it's in motion this fiscal year is, and we're excited about this, the security upgrades. So the next 3 slides are just kind of a quick snapshot of what the county will be seeing moving forward. So there will be this dashboard. You'll see the one blue dot, if you can envision, as we bring more, upgrade more buildings to this new, basically it's access control and screening for patrons and employees into our buildings. You'll see several dots, and those represent county buildings. So in case we do have an incident, 911 typically is the trigger. We will be completely integrated with law enforcement and their technology that they will be able to see real time our buildings. They will be able to monitor our buildings. So let's say number 4 here has an incident. They can click on that blue dot, they can pull up the building, and as you see, they'll be able to see where we have exterior cameras, where we have card access for ingress, egress, they can go ahead, depending on what the incident is, they can click on that building. This is just a snapshot of part of a larger floor plan, but they'll be able to pull up the floor plan of the building. You can see they'll be able to take over the camera system. They'll be able to communicate either with law enforcement that is already inside the building, en route to the building. And again, depending on what the incident is, any door that has card access, they will be able to remotely either lock that door down, lock the entire building down, open doors, close doors. So again, this technology is already at the county's disposal. We are just integrating with it. And so we have 2 facilities currently in progress in switching over to this. And we'll be proposing that we continue to do this conversion as we move forward. So with that, I am turning it over to Justin, and for the next hour.
So this screen, it's probably one that only budget people can love, but it does have a lot of figures of exactly how we got to our budget. As you can see within here, our services are increasing about 4.3%. Included in that is a significant amount of services we're taking on for the sheriff's office this year. Our utilities is at 2.74%, and our maintenance has pretty much stayed flat. So what we have within that, I've got in our facilities management department at 031, it's basically an increase of just the replacement vehicles that we're adding. And the 105, 32 staying flat, that's our judicial center. 105, again, we're having vehicles and the new contractual services in here. You can note that the Department 33, that's our annexes, we aren't moving forward with one lease, so that is decreasing the overall budget. So this year, we're looking at a increase of about $800,000. That equates to about 3.54%. So in the next screen, you'll have a more concise view. It just breaks it down by our department of our ask for this year: personnel, services, maintenance, operational expenses, our preservation program, which is staying flat, the capital vehicles, and our ask for this year is going to be $25,375,931 across the departments, which again is about a 3.54% increase.
So with that, just kind of a quick summary of what our budget proposal request for fiscal year 27, as Justin mentioned, just over 3.5% of operational increase. We are bringing on just over 4% of new buildings to the portfolio, absorbing just under $500,000 in new contractual services. We are not requesting any new FTEs, no new vehicles, and level funding for our preservation program. So, questions?
I screenshot that big thing because my eyes were like not to catch on for saying.
It is. It's actually gotten a little gotten more concise from last year. So
Yeah. Wait, do you want to stay on that, or you wanted to go to your what?
Yeah, well, I'll walk for at least for the public's perspective of how to view it online on ClearGov. Well, while I'm getting there, Dan, I just want to, if you could kind of elaborate on one of your CIP requests for the retrofitting and what that is and what that's the return on investment that we're going to have from that.
So part of our energy management program, a number of our buildings, and we truly focus on our big box building, and this photo right here of the administration building would fall into that category. Over the years, and justifiably, the buildings change, the use changes, and therefore we start to deviate from the original basis of design. So with that, the systems become inefficient because they were not designed for basically what their current purposes are. Either we add a new conference room or we add additional offices that weren't currently, that affects the assembly or the components of the buildings. So what retro commissioning basically does is we bring in a mechanical, for the most part, we focus on mechanical. We bring in a mechanical consultant. We do test and balance. We see what the CFM flow for this room is compared to what the original basis of design is. We get that report. We are either able to make these adjustments via our building automation system. In some cases, it may entail us changing out mechanical equipment. But what that does, it gets the building back to a baseline and it becomes far, far more efficient moving forward.
I have a quick question for now I'm catching on, so I'm a little like 5 minutes delayed, Justin. So the sheriff, and of course, you guys are doing an amazing job to hold the budget flat with the totality of all different departments, especially for 0031. That's the one is the bucket for everybody's preservation and maintenance and the capital expenditures and all the salaries. So that's 2.2, which is lower than average increase, especially with the intensity of the increase in material and any operating cost. The sheriff's 0105, that's a 20% increase, which almost equates to 700,000 increase. Is that increase reflected in a trade-off reduction elsewhere?
What that is, what we are doing, we are taking on some new contractual expenses, primarily the janitorial expense for the sheriff complex. That's been currently paid out of the sheriff's budget,
Okay.
but we're bringing over, I believe it's $420,000 for the annual janitorial contract. That's the bulk of the increase.
Okay.
And just to piggyback on that, our understanding is that operational expense or revenue or budget just gets shifted from the sheriff to us.
Okay.
So in theory, it should be in that zero.
A saving in
Right.
okay, so
Right.
that's something we just need to make a note of when we review the sheriff's budget.
Yeah,
That
this-
is reflected somewhere.
Right,
Yeah.
and this will be the last phase of everything falls now under FM as far
Okay.
as janitorial.
Okay.
They were the last component.
Okay.
That did not.
As well as,
So we have now the new benchmark to look at moving forward.
Yes.
While we're in the transition, there might be initial savings in the sheriff's budget for the janitorial service.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
yes, they also are having 3 new buildings come along,
Sure.
which are going to be an increase in utilities as well as increase in other expenses that we have to pay.
Yeah, now is the 100,000 square feet account for the new sheriff's facility and our permit center, our public service center?
No, so we already had that in it. So yes, so it's going to be, we have the new community centers
Okay.
and then we have fire stations and then the sheriff's admin. It's probably the biggest component of it.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
that's what makes up. And then there's obviously some littler buildings that are part of that, some restrooms, but a big bulk of that is the bond
Okay.
projects, the 4 new regional parks. 2 of those, potentially 3, will be online during fiscal year 27.
So just curious, roughly, you guys can come back with it if you don't have it already. Per square foot of a new building, annual maintenance is how much? How do we quantify that?
We do it by square footage. If I had to give you a range, Joey, would most likely under $10 per square foot.
$10?
Under, yeah.
Okay.
And that's going to vary depending on the age of the building.
It is, and also the complexity. So and I'll use the medical,
Yeah.
far more complex than an administrative building.
Okay.
So, larger consumption of energy.
Yeah.
So again, it's going to be a blended square footage cost.
Yeah.
Is really what it
And
is.
$10 is just for maintenance?
Well,
Utility maintenance?
That's going to be everything.
So if we build 100,000 square feet of a building, that's $1 million. Am I counting this right? Is that a million or is that
Um,
a 10, 100,000?
This is your in the right place.
So $1 million just to maintain carry costs.
Well, now keep in mind, you're talking all these components that Justin has listed out here, services,
Yeah.
operations, so.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, we can obviously get more concise with
Yeah.
that, but again, it is going.
just a rough idea. Yeah,
It is going to be a
so
blended.
a
number.
new library is 25,000. Let's just say we have three new libraries, given 2 of them are only 10. So just those 3 buildings alone is 45,000 square feet, close to 500,000 just to provide utility and, wow,
Yeah.
So
that's pretty,
as you can see with our numbers, we're at
How-
100,000 square feet and that's going up about $800,000.
Yeah.
If you look at it holistically.
yeah, and not to mention the fire station of the 3.
And keep in mind, that goes to that complexity, they're 24/7.
mhm.
So even
we don't-
more.
Yeah, we don't get that relief of, hey, after 5 o'clock, we get to raise the temperature. We don't get that. Matter of fact, it's just the opposite with them. It's temperature goes down because
Yeah.
they're sleeping.
Yeah.
So again, it's a quite a broad range.
Yeah. So the bond project for the stations and the library, the community center, it's about $1 million a year just to keep the building going.
And the way I always looked at it, Joy, is building it is the easy part.
And then you also have
Yeah,
the part,
maintaining.
yeah,
It's the maintaining that is really the cost.
Yeah.
And again, it is as simple as life cycle cost, which is why we exist. So anything that we can do to increase that life cycle
Yeah.
is reduced. Preservation is the
Yeah.
key component to that, because there's a reason why we're not asking for any new additional. There's 2 components, not to get on a diatribe, but you can tell under maintenance versus building maintenance, it's a 2.66% reduction. And if you think about it, we're adding 100,000 square feet and we're reducing our maintenance budget. There's 2 main components.
yeah,
The preservation.
Yeah.
Is one. We're replacing aged out assets. It reduces our operational cost. As Lisa mentioned earlier, we centralized our trades, our skilled trades.
Yeah.
So before, they were isolated into small pockets.
Yeah.
Now we're able to take that talent and spread it out countywide.
Yeah.
The other part with going back to the preservation, it's opportunity cost. We age out, we replace these aged assets. We have one division, and I can't remember which one. Our requests, work order requests are down 56%. What that does, the permit center, we're doing all of that work in-house. So it's that opportunity cost. If we're not changing out that switch, we're over there building walls. So we have a very small budget for the permits and a renovation. We'll come in 50% under that budget.
Yeah.
Just because our ability, and so one component feeds off the other.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're able to reduce our building maintenance
Yeah.
by just under 3%.
Well, so, and then also your energy conservation program. So the $1 million, if it's a new building costing $1 million, you're talking about 8% saving in energy. That's $80,000 just for those buildings for 1 year. So they add up.
Yeah.
So I think that's more of a reason in terms of your budget, when we go through fine combing everybody's budget at the end of the session, preservation, energy conservation
Yeah.
has to be prioritized.
Yeah, that 3.54 is
Yeah.
really just 2 things.
Yeah.
It's the contractual increase.
Yeah.
And it is the replacement of 6 vehicles, which is a great program that Fleet has put in place.
Yeah.
But if you took those 2 components out, our budget would be flat.
Yeah. I'm learning all of this from tiny microscopic scope because I'm learning about all the things that you have to replace in the house.
Yeah.
I learned the garage door when it's not working and you just kind of left it alone and it could have been a Sprint that's broken for $150. But
Right.
then now I have to replace the whole thing, which is over $1,000. And that there's your preservation.
I have those real life examples.
Your in-house tray person is not super qualified. I might have exacerbated it.
That's right.
So actually, I was thinking about as we're going through different departments, each department has their priorities just based on the future cost of it, but also from department to department, there are departments are just like yours, that the investment today is far more important than some other things. When it comes to just a consideration of future costs, I'm thinking at the end of the session, we can do a budget director, I mean, not budget, but just director roundtable, kind of go through what we heard throughout these sessions and kind of prioritize them, because I already we talked about this last night after everything was done, that the way that we wanted to prioritize things principally is needs to be highlighted at the end of it, so we can talk through. And I also don't want department to feel like, oh, certain departments being prioritized over others. And if the budget reduction is necessary, it is more focused on one than the other. And it's not by department, I think it's by principle of certain things. And I think if I want the directors to all kind of come together, agree on those principles. Expansion level of service, I think that is the last.
Right.
Preservation of what we have today, and not only human resource, but capital resource or infrastructure is first. And so we maintain what we have today and then worry about expansion of the service down the road.
Joy, if I could just add back on the preservation, the Great Recession, one of the areas we did target to reduce, it was almost one of the easier ones, if you would.
Yeah.
Was preservation dollars. We reduced preservations, and we saw this because we looked at GFOA, which is our organization. Most counties and municipalities across the country, that's what they did. They went to reducing preservation dollars, kind of like,
It's
you're going to
immediate
defer.
saving without immediate impact, but impact is multifold down the
Then
road.
we found that the cost later on, kind of like your garage door, became a bigger cost for the county to
Yeah.
catch up.
Yeah, I mean, unless we plan to shut down the government the next couple of years, we still have to worry about how it's gonna cost us 10 years, 20 years from now. All right, thank you. Is that it?
That's all.
Well, we can go on and on talking about this. This is not an expert.
Okay. We have an opening if you.
Joy,
Is it okay if I don't have licenses? You have training
It's a
program,
formality.
right?
Yeah, that's right.
Just to kind of, I'm not going to go through any of the numbers here, but just to kind of show everybody listening or watching. Facilities maintenance is within the general fund, within general government there, and then you will see facilities management and building operations. And then there's a couple of different pages under there. So facilities management, building ops, which that includes the annexes in Hastings and that one, and then the sheriff's office complex. So, yeah, all we've kind of gone through a lot of the financial information from their presentation, so we don't need to belabor that. So,
All right, very good.
That's- Good job.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We are live. Oh.
You have an intro or do you want to start?
We are back with Jamie Locklear, purchasing.
There's your intro.
Good morning. This is our budget information, or really kind of an overview of our department, what we've been doing and what we've asked for in the FY27 budget. Just to kind of give an overview of how we're set up, we basically have two teams, and they have assignments to specific departments within the county. And essentially, that team does all of the procurement and contracting activities for those departments. So there's not a lot of swapping unless somebody's out of office, but that's just how we have it organized currently. Our business systems analyst and the senior admin coordinator are not part of the two teams, but they support. So just kind of
Sorry, Jenny, go back to your org chart view. I know you have one position at the requested, right? Are you gonna come back to the org chart to show where that's gonna be placed?
yeah, I can, and I've requested two positions.
Oh, two positions, okay.
So just kind of looking at what we've done this year and previous years as far as solicitations and awards. Just kind of looks at what we've done as far as deliverables, purchase orders and contracts and contract documents and solicitations between FY25 and FY26. This doesn't necessarily capture how we carried over into Workday because there is a level of overlap there, but with the purchase orders, it kind of shows what we started with in FY26 and then where we're at with in Workday now currently. But it's, you know, a couple of hundred contracts each year, 2,500 to 3,000 purchase orders. Some of those are tied to those contracts, some are not. And then the subordinate documents. So authorizations for work, changes, amendments to contracts, those are always the predominant as far as quantity goes, because those are ongoing contracts that require maintenance and management and that kind of thing.
And they're huge, huge contracts.
Yeah. And there's a lot of them. So just looking at it in dollars, this is what we've looked at over, you know, current FY26 currently. We've done about $130 million in contracts. In POs, there's another $145 million in POs so far that are not contract. And then we've done about $4 million in transactions on P cards to date. And then that just kind of provides a comparison over the last couple of years. So in our FY27 budget, we've asked for two FTEs. One of them is a procurement coordinator, and one of them is a supplier relations coordinator. The supplier relations coordinator is necessary now, largely due to the shift to Workday and Workday strategic sourcing. We have a system now that requires vendors and suppliers to register and maintain a profile with our system in order to receive and respond to solicitations. That's a mechanism of electronic procurement. And with that, we require an active management and an active interface with suppliers, more so than just on a procurement by procurement or contract by contract basis. There's a lot of management that goes into that, and also tied into it is with the clerk's adoption of the payment work system for payee management registration. There's an entire registration process that happens there that we initiate on our side, and there's a level of upkeep and management of that that also creates a burden. And right now that's being handled by two of our procurement coordinators, which is a workload that is kind of separate from their normal duties of procurements and contracts. And they also take the burden from everybody else's procurement and contracts and their supplier management. And it really needs to be funneled to one position that kind of serves as that supplier liaison. And then the system coordinator that I'm asking for would basically be to add to team 2, because right now we've got 6 and 5. So it would go on the team that serves utilities, facilities management, libraries, essentially the blue team. And that's where I would place that procurement coordinator if granted. And then the supplier liaison would basically be under me, but supporting or interfacing with the suppliers as managed and things by both teams.
Sorry, just stay on this for a minute. So red is these departments. Okay, so they're just dividing different departments as assignments of departments, but there is no specific differentiation in their duties.
No, it basically, we looked at it from a workload perspective as far as the assignments go. Team 2 has more individual departments, but some of those departments are not high need departments.
Okay.
The higher need departments were kind of split between the two, and then the rest kind of backfilled just to provide a balanced workload between both sides. And it ebbs and flows. I mean, Team 1 might be bogged down for a while, and then they kind of have some relief because there's ebbs in the workload, and then Team 2 gets bogged down. It kind of flows throughout the year, each year.
I can see intergovernmental affair maybe now trading over to economic because they're.
Yeah, and this was before, and I haven't captured that shift in here, but it would probably be consolidated, yeah.
And administration is probably Team 2 because we're super low maintenance.
Right.
O&B can stay.
Right.
Okay, gotcha. So then the supply, what was it?
Supplier relations
Coordinator is under, directly under you.
Yeah.
Okay. And your business system analyst, and I know we may talk about more with performance and transparency in relation to ERP, but that works for you to BSA to be under your department.
We've had a lot of success with the
Okay.
BSA. I know that there was direction, or at least an initial communication, that there's a shift happening with whatever that looks like, and what that looks like is still to be determined, but
Okay.
we've had a lot of success with Eric in our BSA role in our department.
Okay.
The other difference is in our budget is really just adjusting the training to account for the 2 additional suppliers. The overall goal with training is to get our entire staff certified. We're on our way. I think we recently just had another team member get certified with her CPBB. I've actually got a staff member going tomorrow for her test.
What's a CPBB?
It's a certified public procurement buyer.
Okay.
So essentially it is the foundational certification for public procurement, and it's a multinational certification through
Okay.
the Universal Public Procurement Certification Council.
Oh, wow.
And it basically lays the groundwork for all like regular purchasing, not going into like the really complex and strategic planning components of procurement, but it's really the fundamentals.
Okay.
So it's required for our procurement coordinators to have it within 3 years of their hire.
Mhm.
And that's kind of the threshold that we kind of push them to get. And we've kind of made some accommodations just with situations that come up, but pretty much everybody's gotten their cert by 3 years.
Okay, wow. Are you fully staffed now?
We're actually in the process of offering for our admin coordinator, and I think we've just finished interviews for the open procurement coordinator position that Lee has.
Okay.
So we'll be moving forward with an offer hopefully in the next week or so.
Because I know you're one of the departments maybe stood out having recruitment challenges. Do you see that to improve recently?
It depends. It's difficult because a lot of the people that apply for our jobs don't have public procurement experience.
Mhm.
They have military logistics experience. They have private side buying, where they're buying components or they're buying equipment, and it kind of translates. So we end up a lot of times looking for those translatable aspects. But you don't get a lot of folks with multiple years of public procurement experience. We don't see a lot of those in our applications.
Gotcha.
And a lot of it is, if we're looking for experienced people, we're going to look to other areas. And the level of position and salary isn't necessarily going to entice someone to move
Gotcha.
for taking on another role.
Gotcha. Okay.
And the other main aspect of our budget that has changed is the Conga. That's our current or previous contract management system. That fee is going down, obviously, because we're no longer actively processing contracts through there, so the licenses would be reduced. We will still maintain it to some degree for the foreseeable future until we figure out data warehouse and archive and situations like that, or until the retention period of what's in there expires.
Yeah.
But essentially it's going down, you know, because we're now in WSS and that'll be where we process contracts.
Yeah, I want to kind of just talk a little bit, we can talk more later down the road, it's less budget related, but in terms of contract management, when you say contract management, it's more in the context of procurement and secure the contract rather than contract compliance component to it, right?
So it's kind of both.
Okay.
So we work very much in line with the departments of, they are the folks that are saying services are not being performed, or a contractor is behind, or we're running into these kinds of areas, and we kind of come in as we're an assistance to those conflict resolution type things where, you know, give us all the documentation and what has happened, what have we communicated, where are we at, what does the contract say, to kind of give us a path of, are we on the path of, you know, liquidated damages and default and termination, or are we on the path of, you know, what is our course correction and what do we need to do?
Okay.
We work, I mean, we're always in conversations, meetings and that kind of thing with public works, with facilities, with utilities, you know, the big departments, where they're running into those kind of, they're normal contract things. I mean, very few contracts go perfectly.
Okay.
But it's an ongoing piece, but we provide that, I guess, kind of separate objective where what has happened, what have we documented, and then what does the contract say? And then we kind of marry the two to say, okay, we can go forward in this manner, or we have to take kind of a different approach, or we have to say, hey, you're just not doing it. And this is where you're at now, you have to cure type thing.
Yeah, I know you had a position, or maybe you still have that position, just filled by a different person. I remember Mary was here, and then she was more of active contract compliance management person. Yeah. And so now it sounds like the model is more that you're providing the technical support while relying on departments to make sure the review of the contract provisions are done and the compliances are in place. And then coupled with Jesse's new compliance officer person, I guess what do you guys think that model works, or is there any deficiency in contract compliance?
So I think there is a deficiency in contract compliance. One, because if you, like when we brought Mary on and she was here for about a year, one person can't manage contract compliance when we have 3,000 different contract engagements just under the purview of procurement and contracts, not even counting the contracts that are outside of the purchasing policy, whether it's grant contracts, MOUs, interlocals, whatever. You would have to have an extensive team if you were going to have kind of a centralized compliance team that's going to serve in the role of, let me dig into each and every contract and do an operational or an administrative audit. What Mary ended up having to focus on is documentation. Do we have insurance? Do we have the required affidavits? Do we have, you know, are we following the steps with reporting requirements if it was applicable in whatever contract she was having to look at? And it became an administrative compliance role as opposed to true compliance with the contract, because a lot of that is scope.
Yeah.
So we have to, the departments are a key component of, are they doing what we've contracted them to do?
Right.
So you can't take that away from being on the department side, because they're the boots on the ground, they're the ones interacting on a daily basis. I think it is a valuable component to have a focus on contract compliance, but there is kind of a marrying of the two for it to be effective.
Yeah, so from your observation, and this is not in a department, just because department usually is designed to operate. And then when they got a contract, they got a contractor, and they're going to move on with their operation. So looking for ways to keep compliance with the deliverables, that's a special skill set. I mean, that's a skill set, but also has to mirror, like you said, the understanding of the operational needs. Are you meeting our needs? And it is, because they're the one contracting them, so they know what they're looking for.
Right.
But there's also a component of compliance expertise, so to speak, Do you think the department has that? Or if they don't, are you able to provide that
Mhm.
technical assistance?
Yeah, and I think I think there's a level of necessity for it to be from us as kind of a separate entity where we're coming in and looking at the facts. And it doesn't matter, Wade's our contractor and, I really get along with Wade and Wade's great. But I have to tell Wade some really bad news that we're not paying him for $100,000 of work because it either doesn't comply or it's not in line with their contract. So we come in and we can tell Wade because, Wade and I are not buddies. And not to say that the departments don't hold their contractors accountable, but it does provide a level of protection that a project manager can continue a project and have it done and focus on the goal of accomplishment of a project.
Mhm.
And we can come in and, kind of hold both of their hands in, hey, on our side, there are things we're required to do. Like you haven't done X, Y, and Z, you have to do X, Y, and Z. And, contractor, you have to do A, B, and C. This is your time frame to correct that and kind of course correct as they go. A lot of times that's the difference. It gets real easy just to focus on the day to day and just keeping the progress going.
Yeah,
And then there's kind of we have to deal with this problem over here, but they really have to focus on keeping it going and then we can kind of take on the problem.
yeah. So in the perfect world, that to make sure all departments' contracts and whatever the engagement they have contractually is in compliance, so that we get what we pay for. What does that look like as far as the building of the team?
From an overarching
Yeah.
type perspective. So we do a good portion of that with, our procurement coordinators, they don't just secure the contract and then they never touch it again. We work within those contracts a lot. And so we do a level of that where it's, hey, we need our insurance, or hey, we've gotten notice to owner, so we have to provide bonds to subs because subs have to have an avenue if they're not treated properly. There's records requests, there's reporting stuff, and it's checking in with the departments of, are they performing?
Mhm.
Have you documented that they're performing or not performing, which is generally the more difficult one? Because a lot of times that's the part that we have to kind of go into inspector or investigator mode of, well, what happened? Did we document? What do we have to show, whether there's meeting minutes or emails or letters or whatever. And we kind of have to put the case together.
Mhm.
So there's a level of that done already. I think if you're looking for a more overarching, like across the board compliance, I think that looks more from like an auditing, like a spot check. And we had started that process when Mary was here of pick a sample of contracts and just kind of touch base. It became more of an administrative thing of, have they reported, there's this deliverable, did they provide that deliverable? And it's kind of becomes a checkbox of, from the compliance piece. But if you're looking at total compliance, then you have to also work in are they doing what they're supposed to be doing? Not necessarily from an administrative component, but from a performance component, because those two things don't necessarily look the same.
Mhm. Yeah, I guess we can talk about this more down the road. I guess what I'm asking is, do we have staffing that is designated, or if it designated at least a portion of them, to be enough to carry that out?
I don't think, well, I guess, are you asking if we are like capturing all compliance issues and addressing them in a timely manner? I would say no, because again, we handle thousands of contractual interactions.
Yeah. Well, not just you, but in combination with the departments.
Right. And I would say we do a pretty good job. There's always room for improvement. And staff is a level of that. Standardization of contracts and requirements and things are another component of that would help as far as like, it's these things every time. And we don't have that across the board. It's always an effort or, an intent to go and to provide some level of consistency, to have better reporting, better. It's not like night and day between one contract to another. Some contracts by nature are different, but I think there's always room to improve that. I think like with Olga coming on, I think that's a new avenue that definitely provides for another level of compliance review and checking and levels of improvement that can happen, whether it's within contracts or just in our approach to contracts or how we, disseminate or provide for updates and information and things like that. I think that is helpful and it improves it from that perspective.
Gotcha.
I think it's kind of a multifaceted animal that, I don't know that anybody really does it 100%. You know, they're happy with where it is currently all the time.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
So
That's the last slide?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
That's all I've got.
All right.
Can I just ask a question on the, so the board approved in March, the possibility for the utilities to go out and get a fairly up to, I think, over $200 million. Does your staffing model consider that you will have a, you know, a pretty large capital program for next year? So does that program, that request for the procurement coordinator enough, if you will, for that particular program?
I mean,
gonna be
we
a
would
quick
handle
ramp
that
up.
with our current staffing if that position's not applied, but that position would absolutely help as
Yeah.
far as addressing the workload that we have currently.
Okay, it's the bonds are 3 years, right? And every one of those dollars is gonna be procured, so just wanted to. make
Yeah,
sure
I mean,
two
it's a
sides are
factor. I
talking.
mean, it definitely contributes to the need. And again, if we add those two, it's really just to kind of keep up with the demand of the departments and the needs and the priorities as they come and what we establish as our, you know, programs going forward, because we have to respond to that. And quite frankly, we've been behind on growing with the departments and the demands of the departments as the departments have continued to grow their programs and priorities and things like that. I mean, the last couple of years is really the first time that we've added to or expanded staff-wise our ability to keep up and maintain a level of responsiveness for those, you know, for all of our user departments. So yeah, I mean, that would be in there.
Okay, good, thank you.
Right, just to run through the budget real quick. Purchasing is under the general fund, under general government. Purchasing and contracts, and here's their financial information. Increase in personnel primarily related to the new positions, and as you can see, there's very little operating in addition to the personnel. So it's really, you know, it's the services that you're providing with the other departments, and here's the line item detail. Yeah, a little bit of an increase, but be expected with a position request.
And kind of like what we talked earlier with Dan and Lisa and Justin about sort of the coming to principles and overarching concept on how we're prioritizing things. And we talked about preservation of existing buildings, but when it comes to human resources, I would absolutely prioritizing keeping up with the current operations. So I would prioritize your positions just because those are the positions is to support the overall operation as is. Got it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Jenny.
And she got closest to the longest.
We're catching up with all of our kids. All right, so good morning. With me, I've Ben Bright, Deputy Public Works Director, and Don Cardenas, our Administrative Manager. So going over the Public Works 2027 budget. Oh, is this one? Yeah. Oh, it's even better. So we'll go over the introduction, some of our accomplishments in 25 and 26, some opportunities in 27, and then go individually into each division if we talk through the process. So this is the leadership of Public Works. We are finally fully staffed. So we're very excited about that. We have a solid waste manager. His name's Mark Blocker. He's just joined us. This is his third week. Worked at Advanced Disposal, worked at WM, Waste Management, worked in St. Johns County in his previous role. So understands some of the characteristics of the county, the environment of the county, the people of the county, and hit the ground running. But everybody else has been here for multiple years and pretty proud of this team. I think it's the best team I've ever seen us have. So we're looking forward to the future. And as always, we like to start with our people. You know, we always want to make sure what we talk about what is success. Success is making sure every one of these individuals goes home every night. Say in Public Works, we have 70% of our workforce work in high hazard areas, either in the roadway or in solid waste or traffic signals. So it's our priorities making sure that they are able to go home every night to their loved ones. And just want to take this time to thank everybody for last year. We did put in a safety coordinator position last year that was approved. And we're excited. We had interviews this week. We have a lot of good candidates that are going through the process that will come in and just enhance our safety programs that we currently have in Public Works. So not only does that, we preach safety with our individuals, but now that we're showing them with an individual that's going to be able to beat the drum of safety every day. So they will hear it from admin all the way through leadership in Public Works that we do care about them individually. So thank you very much for that. And in 25 and 26, some of the accomplishments, we spent over $20 million in pavement management over those 2 years to improve the St. Johns County road infrastructure. We had managed over 70 transportation capital improvement projects in excess of $300 million in those multiple years. We completed, which is great to say, we've actually completed County Road 2209, County Road 210 East, Longleaf Pine Parkway, Michael Road and A1A intersection, Pine Island and US 1, State Road 16 South Francis, Brickoff Road and 207 Signal, and Regala Road. It's a lot of good transportation improvements that are complete. They're used every day right now by the public, so we're able to see that in use, so we're pretty proud of that. Wow.
I'm sorry, we stood on this corner just a few weeks ago and did the ribbon cutting for 210.
In the bottom right, that was the ribbon cutting, Joy, of 210 East.
The 3.5 line on the third bullet, that impact hundreds of thousands of people and their mental health every day. So thank you.
And I drove through there yesterday at 5:30, smooth as butter.
It's amazing, and
Yeah.
we're happy for Nate, our project manager on that. He can actually sleep at night.
Half sleep.
Yeah, he's still at 210 West, but he takes everything personally. But I think we're going to see the same improvements through these other projects, or we're going to impact that many people with the construction of 210 West from Cimarron out to Greenbrier, as well as that intersection at Veterans as part of this project. The State Road 16 and IGP project that's going underway right now, as well as looking at other intersections throughout the county. So it is pretty cool to be a part of a lot of these projects. One of the projects we're even looking at is Greenbrier Road. I'm getting old. I was part of that project when it was a dirt road and we paved it 28 years ago. So to see stuff come back around and improvements happen to projects that I was part of back in the day means I've been around a while. And we won the Northeast Regional Council Award for the Tactical Training Facility. That was a great accomplishment to go up there. That was with the Sheriff's Office. And I know they were extremely proud of that project. The last thing we want to talk about that's not on the list is we started the APWA accreditation this year. We are formally in that process.
the idea behind that. I think, Joy, you've been part of accreditations in the past with HHS. We're excited about this. It creates an SOP for all of our divisions and makes sure that we can standardize our processes moving forward. We're probably halfway done in meeting the expectations of the accreditation process. Our goal is every May is APWA, falls within May, APWA week. To do this next year, come back to the board next May during APWA week, hopefully with the accreditation at hand.
Tell us what that means.
Accreditation?
No, the AP.
Oh, I'm sorry, American Public Works Association. Thank you. So we'll have many acronyms in here. You see it up here already. But we're looking forward to that. The team's working hard on it. Some of the anticipated cost increases, and some of them we're seeing them right now. Pavement management has had a cost increase of over 50% over the past 5 years. We bid this out every couple of years, and we have multi-year contracts for pavement management. If you recall, back in 2020, we're concerned about gas prices, as we see gas prices are going up almost 50% over last year, 41% for diesel. Pavement management is driven by fuel. So we saw that in 2020. Some of the teams came back to us and asked for an increase. We didn't do it at the time. We felt like, let's go out for a rebid, and we saw a major jump in those costs. So we have not heard from any of our contractors yet of asking for an increase, but fuel is an indicator of cost increase throughout what we do in public works, because transportation is part of everything we do, let alone asphalt is fuel-based. So we can see that directly impacting the cost of that material, not only just the transportation of it. Every day we're keeping an eye on this. We're looking at any additional cost that's coming with this. We've not received any requests for an increase yet, but if they come, we'll understand a little bit better way to handle it.
Can you just kind of explain what that would mean if there is a cost increase and right now you're not requesting an increase in budget for pavement management? So a cost increase means what?
It means less pavement on the ground. We did this I think in 2020, our cost was about $90 per ton of asphalt. Right now it's about $175 to $180. So theoretically, you're going to get half the amount of asphalt on the ground at the same budget amount. So that's our concern. We are making sure that we maximize any other treatments that we can use to extend the life. But the direct analysis is twice the cost means less the product if you don't change the budget requirements.
But everything related to asphalt is oil-based, right? Asphalt itself is oil-based. The treatments that we use are oil-based. They use diesel fuel to transport it from the plant to the job site. They use diesel fuel to put it down and roll it out. So it's very, very much that this work activity is very much tied to fuel prices.
So Greg, Jesse and I just recently learned about pavement management software. Is there a cost saving in using that?
We do use it. We do use pavement management software right now. There's multiple software packages out there, but we use it through CityWorks. And that helps us create the pavement condition index, a PCI, that allows us to budget and look at the 5-year work program, start to model where we currently are, where will those roads be in 5 years, what's the best treatment type for it. You can do a very superficial treatment, which is the lowest cost. You can do a mill and resurface, which is the next layer. And then you can do full depth reclamation. Go ahead, Wade. No, you're good. But you can do a full depth reclamation. Of course, that's the most expensive. So our goal is always to hit it at the highest, the lowest cost to keep extending that. And we do use pavement management, modeling, and software to help us.
Is there one that the device goes on the vehicle and measures it as it goes? Have you heard of that?
There's RNT that actually does that. And we're actually looking at that as maybe a supplement to what we do right now, because we inspect these roads every 3 to 5 years. We actually go out there with a physical band, take a video, and it determines the condition, defects, distresses in the roadway. That's a snapshot every 3 to 5 years, depending on the type of road. Every local roads we do every 5 years, major and minor collectors we do every 3 years. There's opportunity to put stuff on our current vehicles to have that done every day. And it makes sense, and the technology is catching up and making it more available to us. So we are looking at that to see if we can have inspections done every day as our fleet goes out there every day and provides us information on the roads. Just another way of looking at projects and costs that used to be 2209 an IGP signal and 210 and US 1 signal. Back in 2020, the cost for the construction was 535 and 430. One was a box span, which is not a mast arm, it's an old school kind of concrete structure. 210 US 1 is the mast arms that you see, it was standalone with arms that extend out. Those were $500,000 average. In 2026, our South Francis, which is the most basic temporary signal, was $657,000. The Rinkoff and 207 signal was $2 million. That included some roadway improvements with it, but just showing you that these intersections are no longer that $500,000 range. They're no longer that $100,000 range that they were 15 years ago. Ben gets to hear about me being an old man talking about.
Back in my day, mast arms were.
It just shows the scale of these intersections that now we're programming a lot more funds per intersection improvement than we had to in the past. And some of the cost savings that we're looking for, we're lucky to have partners like we do with the school board that provided $3.2 million for the construction of Courtney Vista Drive. I think that was born out of our infrastructure delivery team meetings. We were able to share that cost because we're receiving the benefit of that new roadway. But we never had that conversation with the school board before. Literally, they would tell us we don't look outside the fence. So now we have a partner over there, Dr. Asplin, that's been a great partner to St. Johns County as a whole, especially the Public Works, because he is able to look outside of their fence line to see how they're impacting the roadway and the traveling public, and willing to work with us to come up with solutions and even bring dollars to those solutions. We meet with the DOT monthly, and I think we have a great relationship with them. I know our grants and legislative folks have brought in a lot of dollars, and we were able to spend them on some significant projects in the county, but those also offset some impacts that to our current budget through these grant opportunities. We also review our intersections, our micro roundabout design. We were able to look at that, reduce the cost associated with the construction when we could put this out to bid. We hope at least $1 million, if not more, we're saving with doing some renovation or some changes to the current design that was initially brought to our attention. And then lastly is right sizing county vehicles. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But in the past, we were always going to F-150s, F-250s. We all had to have four-wheel drive. We now have tools at our disposal to help right-size county vehicles and departments. Jeff in our fleet shop works with every director and says, here's the vehicles that are set to be replaced. What's your functionality of them? How do we get the miles per gallon up? How do we get the initial cost down? And work through some of those strategies. You'll see a lot more Mavericks and Rangers on the road than you did the F-150s or 250s. So, and taking a step back, just where does the budget come from for Public Works? You know, a major portion comes from the millage for the ad valorem taxes. It provides 70% of Public Works funding. This is everything except for solid waste. So this is all the other divisions. We also receive 18% through the gas tax. We do receive some funding back through our fleet revenue as we bill the departments for the work that we accomplish. With the state revenue source, we have some agreements with the state to handle the signals as well as some mailing operations. And then our solid waste franchise fees, we actually split that with our solid waste department because those fees are to the commercial drivers that are picking up the trash out there, picking up the dumpsters. Those vehicles impact our roads. So we feel like a portion of that should go back into maintaining the road infrastructure of the county. And then we have some other miscellaneous revenue, which is interest. And then we're just going to jump into the different divisions within Public Works. So in our administration, that falls under Dawn. We're going up, no, we're only going up minimal. It's really a little bit of salaries, but we have also put in a new FTE and a half actually into this division. And those two 1.5 FTEs. The first one is a warehouse coordinator. Might not be the best name for it, but the intent behind this is right now, I believe we have like 472 BOs that are processed through Vaughn's team right now. Not all of them bring in resources, but a lot of them bring in material to road and bridge, the traffic signals shop, fleet even, admin, and having somebody that is the receiver of all that information, make sure it's documented properly, it's getting received properly before payment is issued. So this is a person that now would not only see that portion of the process, it's like have the checks and balances of when we buy stuff, now we have somebody responsible to make sure it's in hand before it is paid. That's kind of the straightforward.
And also
portion
for
of it.
issuing it, making sure we're not overstocking on certain items and understocking on certain items and making sure use is appropriate. You know, people aren't just able to walk up and grab, oh, I want this new saw. You know, there's someone managing that.
Yes. And then the half of the employee is a public affairs specialist. Jennifer Watkins has been our new employee, has been with us 9 months or so now. She works for Wayne, and what we pay the salary. She's been tremendous. As you can see, there's a lot of ribbon cuttings, groundbreakings, but also notifications, social media posts. She does a great job of promoting public works and what we do. And we see always potential for improving that even more so because it's really hitting the highlights of what we do. We'd like to educate the people more and more of our daily activities and how we impact them. So that's the other half of employee on that portion. We were splitting this with utilities at the time, or actually we still split this with utilities. So she's with us from 8 to 12 every day, then at meals from 1 to 5. every
Oh,
day.
wow.
So she's getting a really good knowledge base of who we are, St. Johns County, especially on utilities and public works. There's a lot on both sides. That's why we felt, we never knew what a half employee would really give us. Jennifer came in and just has taken this off to another level with the support of public affairs around her. It's just exciting to see what we can do with a full time, 8 hours a day. So that's really administration. This, we're gonna start diving into the other divisions, but we always talk about real-time data-driven decision-making. This is just some of our dashboards, just for talking points. The top left is kind of the foundation of what you've seen in our CIP dashboard, when you see it either at our meetings that we hold once a month or on the website. This is all the work that goes in behind the scenes that all the project managers do to upload the information into it to make sure it's accurate and we're managing it appropriately. The lower left-hand side is our AVL dashboard. That is our vehicle locator dashboard. We have these GPS units on almost, it's like 95%, if not more, of all the county vehicles. And this is information that's provided not only to us, but all the directors and departments in St. Johns County. We can tell if people are speeding, hard braking, when are they using their vehicles, how fast are they going. This provides us some safety measures, but also it provides a lot of hopefully efficiencies in how you're handling your fleet every day and where they're going. So you can actually see what's going on day to day.
And the main image on the right is our sidewalk dashboard. So last year, as part of our budget request, we requested additional resources to address sidewalk deficiencies. And so we contracted with a vendor. We had an opportunity to work together where they've provided some data for us on distresses along the sidewalks. So we have a GPS location for every distress. We identified over 33,000 distresses in our sidewalk. So we got a little snapshot right there of a portion of Nocatee. Every one of those greenish blue dots is a distress that's been addressed. So our crews use this information, our supervisors use this information to plan the work for the crews. And they send them out, they mark it complete. So we have good record keeping of where the work needs to happen, where the work has happened. This provides a very high level of service to our residents. We've already addressed nearly 3,000, well, at the time of this screenshot, nearly 3,000 of the distresses. And we're doing this at a low cost rate compared to replacement and a much higher frequency. So we're providing a higher level of service and protecting the county's liability because we can show we have this work program that's addressing deficiencies. We get contacted by OCA at least once a month, maybe multiple times a month, about trip and falls on sidewalks. So we recognize that this was an area where we could really bring some value to the county and a higher level of service to the residents.
It's impressive.
And then my understanding is the yellow is the work's been completed, but they just need someone to go out and verify that
Okay.
the work was completed completely.
This goes back to the pavement management conversation. So we use CityWorks to capture a lot of our information. So all this is captured through our CityWorks system, and that's where this information is provided. So it's pretty cool. I'm glad that we're able to showcase the money was provided to Public Works last year, and we're able to showcase on how we're using it right now.
This is just one area of one part of the county. Right? That really.
Yeah.
It's a newer, think about it, it's a newer section of the county too.
That's
A lot of sidewalks.
Yeah, that's just the town center area of Nocatee.
But the 30,000 distresses are for all 621 miles.
Okay.
So jumping in the fleet,
How many miles?
621 miles of sidewalk. So our fleet management, right now, our budget in 26 was 6,020,000. It is going up 6 million to 439,000 in 2027. There's two reasons for that. The number one reason is that we are anticipating the increase in gas. So right now, fleet handles all the gas production, well, disbursement in the county. We have our State Road 16 site, as well as Council on Aging. There is one over on Mizell that we're looking at right now to see if that's still an efficient use. But that's the increase of really this budget to make sure that we're able to pay for all the gas. We do get reimbursed from that from our department that uses it. The other increase in the capital is we are looking to place a new generator at our fleet shop, because if power were to go out, we were hit with a hurricane, our fleet shop is really dead in the water without power. They have minimal power, but we could not handle our fleet shop there right now. We would have to bring in a lot of generators and single generators. The intent is we're doing more and more work with fire services, the ambulances and other vehicles. We feel like there definitely need to be prepared for a storm event, and came up with those costs associated with facilities to place a generator hookup.
You're letting them use a bay, right, for the fleet maintenance for fire
So
vehicles?
the 10-8, we
Yeah.
still haven't totally gone through with that.
Okay.
They come and go right now
Okay.
because they have somebody that's mobile,
Okay,
but we have not totally enacted that
Okay,
contract just
gotcha.
yet.
and more of a reason in the future when that isn't enacted.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that we think that's a benefit to us. We showed this last year. This is our vehicle replacement program. This is something that we share with budget, and we look at all vehicles that are scored under a 60. Then they get evaluated by budget to see what can really be supported in this current year's budget. But it takes away the department's requesting. This now provides everybody a safe, productive vehicle that has low repair costs. We look at repair cost, condition, mileage, and age to come up with the scoring. And over the past couple of years, it's really elevated our vehicles and reduced our repair cost. It keeps everybody moving and being able to perform their functions. So right now we have over 650 vehicles in the program. So most of them are on our light side, but there are some heavy side. And we look at if it's over 135,000 miles, we have 19 vehicles at that range. We have some vehicles that are over 7 years old, which we're fine with, but that just helps us to anticipate what's coming down the line and what will be a future budget request.
As part of this program, we also service every vehicle in the county. We intend to service every vehicle in the county twice a year. So that we're collecting some of the data, the age and the mileage every time they fuel up, or the mileage comes every time they fuel up. But then every time they bring it in for service or that 6 months, we do a condition assessment, and that goes into this database. So it's updated in real time.
Okay. How many, so your fleet maintenance management system and your sidewalk, and I would assume pavement management and any other countywide drainage reporting through this portal, how many data entry GIS slash staffer that you use to be able to maintain those systems?
So our information system section has 5 positions in it.
Okay. And that's the core team that is inputting all this information.
No, they
Okay.
manage the data that's input, but we get input from users across the county and from systems across the county.
Okay.
So,
And that's what's the city work? Okay.
yeah, so like for this information, the mileage comes in every time a vehicle gets fueled. So that's entered by the operator when they refuel the vehicle, and then it populates into our dashboard.
Okay.
The condition assessment is done by a fleet technician every time the vehicle is brought in for service. That's part of their work order system. So they input that into the system, and then it populates this dashboard. The age associated with it is based on data that's entered when the vehicle is brought into the county as the intake process.
Gotcha. Okay.
So they don't input a whole lot of data. They manage the data
Okay.
that's input, and then they manage the system that manages the data.
Gotcha. Okay. And that is a very similar system that the facility management as well as parks and many other departments that have assets throughout the county is trying to be more mature about how to manage that.
And I'm excited about them going this way because we couldn't do what we can do without this information.
Yeah.
We couldn't tell you what our vehicles' conditions are, what's the
Yeah.
budget look like for the next year, let alone the next couple of years.
Yeah.
This is a great tool for us, but Rocky and his team created this for us.
Right.
Worked through CityWorks to allow us a system that we're able to sit here and just review it this way.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Rocky and David and Corey are still continuing to meet
Mhm.
over the GIS committee to implement very similar technology for all departments,
And they are.
including, yeah.
But it's great. Then we also have an asset management coordinator team,
Mhm.
which are 3 different people.
Okay.
One's embedded in fleet, one's embedded in traffic operations, and one's embedded in road and bridge.
Okay.
So they're able to mine in other things that the manager's looking for.
Okay.
I want to understand my milling operation more. I want to understand my construction team more. How many signals do I have? How many times have I been out there with that signal? How do I create a preventative maintenance program for my signals?
Mhm.
So then we can create these systems that hopefully reduce our long-term costs by doing preventative maintenance.
Gotcha.
This is the AVL system, automated vehicle locator system. This started a couple of years ago with just Public Works. We wanted to see if this would be of value to our operations. This allows us to, first of all, boost safety. When people know we're monitoring how they're driving, they drive a little bit better. So right now we have managers that can get alerts that if people are not driving appropriately, that they can address that.
Like 360.
It is like a 360. But I'll tell you what, the first week you put it in there, there's a couple alerts, there's a couple conversations. Week 2, there's less. Week 3, there's less.
Mhm.
As soon as people understand that we're monitoring with the impact that we're trying to improve safety. We're not trying to be Big Brother. We want you to act safely.
Mhm.
We've used this to county employee benefit as well. We've had people make accusations that your employee was speeding, your employee was in this location, things like that. We can look through the data and say, no, the data that we have does not indicate that they were speeding or that this was even a county employee.
Mhm.
Because I think there's a general idea in the public, they assume any white vehicle is the county. It could be.
We're a government, we're all the same.
Yeah, it could be a white van, So we have used it to the benefit in that way.
Mhm.
Routing, for us, we have right-of-way inspections, we have our zone supervisors, we have a lot of people going out every day. How do we look at what they're doing every day? Do we make it more efficient if they're looking at permits? Here's all the permits in the zone. So when you're going out there, look at all these permits. Don't go from Ponte Vedra to Hastings in a day. Let's go southwest, hit all these zones. So it's another way that managers can work with their people to set their daily activities. Maintenance and early diagnostics. We are starting to get information from these systems. So we can call the person and say, we heard something from your vehicle. you need to bring it in, where they're not even aware of it.
We see the check engine light just like they do, but we try not to ignore it.
What's the exclamation point mean? Triangles.
So the green, yeah, so the green is vehicles in motion.
That, yeah.
The orange is vehicles that are idle, so they're on, but they're stopped. And then the red is vehicles that are parked, so they're stopped, and the vehicle's not on.
What does that mean?
So some of them have an explanation
Yeah,
point
what
next
does
to
that
them.
mean?
I think there's been an alert either at that location or associated with the vehicle.
And then fleet utilization, making sure vehicles are not just sitting on the sideline. You know, if you have vehicles, they're there for a tool to be used. So if they're not being used, we can tell people, you know, you may want to look at using this in another form or fashion. And then going back to right size of vehicles, if we have people driving throughout the county and you're putting a lot of miles on it, let's look at a fuel efficient vehicle. If you don't need a 4-wheel drive or you're not towing anything, let's make sure you're something comfortable that gets a high fuel, miles per gallon. And then our road and bridge budget, this is staying very similar to the $14.2 million for last year, raising up to 14.4. A lot of that is just the pay raises associated with it. And our operating capital are very similar in size that we were next year. No FTE request out of the road and bridge. Here's some other, we love to share our data, love to talk about dashboards. Our roadway maintenance in the top left, the pothole repairs, how many hours, how many repairs, what was our average cost per repair. Brush cutback is actually taking care of the vegetation along the side of the roads. Our sidewalk maintenance, we talked a little bit about that. We grinded over 2,000 hours worth of grinding so far at almost 3,700 locations. And it's costing us about $9.30 per square foot. And if you look next to it, if we let that get to a place where you have to repair and replace it, it raises up to $52 a square foot. So the preventative maintenance constantly is what we're looking to achieve to reduce our costs. Mowing's the same thing. We have different types of mowing. We have our small mowing, which we contract out. That's usually behind any curb or sidewalk locations. Our large mowing is in the open rural sections, the 2209s of the world. And we have that internal. We see collect all that.
Yeah, we see a constant progression of mowing over the years because you'll have a 2-lane road with no curb associated with it. We can mow that with a large tractor. Those get transformed into 4-lane roads with curbs, at least on the inside, if not on the outside as well. You can't mow that with a large tractor. Well, you can, but you're gonna have big problems. Obviously, you're gonna run into traffic. So those acres that were large machine mowed with a large tractor get converted into small mowing that has to be done with one of the ride-on zero-turn type mowers. And then with curbs and sidewalks, we have other things. We have edging to keep the grass from growing over the curb and growing over the sidewalk. It's safety and aesthetics. And we do some herbicide treatment as well to try to keep the grass from growing in the cracks, and that can bust the sidewalk. People don't like it. So there's an increase in cost as we progress from rural roads to an urban type section, from large mowing to small mowing.
We actually have a conversation just about the roads, the 2209s, the 210s, the Longleaf Pines Parkway. There is a transition from one of the mowing sides to the other. Let alone increasing the assets. 2209, I think we increased about 40 acres of additional mowing just with our new section. It's 200 foot wide right away. So 40 acres just takes another day. How does that fall within our cycle? Does that impact our cycle? Because once you get into the growing season and it starts to rain every day and you're not cutting that day, and I think everybody's grass is already growing right now outside their house. So we're seeing that right now, but if you don't mow for 3 days, and then it just compounds itself. So these additional acres, we are anticipating them on, do we do that with large mowing? Do we need to add another mower if we keep adding these additional acres? And what point do we do that? We're not there just yet, but we can see it in the future.
we sit down at the beginning, just to highlight one of the programs that we set up is our vegetation management program. So we sit down prior to every mowing season, because mowing season runs from early March to late November or December. We sit down before every mowing season. We look over the past 3 years of data. What are our costs? What's our efficiencies? What are we looking for in the next year as far as additional responsibilities of roads coming online or new mowing areas? And then we can look back, look forward, so we have a good plan, and we have a good understanding of what we're tasked with doing and how we're going to accomplish that. And then the other chart up here is just, we can't know what to maintain if we don't know what we're supposed to maintain. So we're currently, that's what we're charged with maintaining, is 1,100 miles of road, 600 miles of sidewalk, 2,000 acres of grass, and almost 3,300 miles of culverts. We're going to talk about all this tonight or tomorrow night at our SJC 101,
If you'd like to come. But it's pretty cool. And then you go down, we even classify it. So the miles of roadway, you have the local roads that over 800 miles of just local roads. But then you go into major collectors over 200, minor collectors at almost 90. Our sidewalks, you can see the total miles there in the different zones because everybody has a different area that they need to address. The mowing is 2,000 acres per cycle. That's not what we do all year. That's the amount of acres that St. Johns County is responsible to mow. And then the last one, Julie, this is interesting. I think it's interesting to you, is we have 3,200 culverts, pipes in the ground. The bottom, the acronyms, RCP is concrete pipe. The HDPE is the plastic pipe. The other is, we don't even know. It could be clay, it could be so many things. The CNP is corrugated metal pipe. One of the things we're looking at right now in our drainage infrastructure program is looking at CNP pipes on major and minor collector roads. Corrugated metal pipes will deteriorate a lot faster than concrete. We like concrete, it will last 50 years plus, as long as it doesn't get hit or damaged or just separate. Corrugated metal pipe, if it's sitting in the ground with our high water table and some of the water coming through it, it could rust out and become a problem for us. So we're evaluating CNP with major and minor collectors, doing it, reviewing all those with an inspection to see if we need to line them, if we can do a lining because that's the lowest cost, or do they need a full repair? So they all work hand in hand, and this is why we actually had this collaboration room with our asset management coordinators, where road and bridge, traffic, and fleet, they all sit in this big room together. Because when I'm talking about a piece of equipment, our fleet guy can talk to my road and bridge person and say, how do we work together? What data can I provide you to help you out with your efficiencies? And then make sure we're able to provide the work. We do have a 5-year equipment replacement program. So we look at where we currently are today. Let's stretch this out. Let's make sure that we're replacing it so we don't have a 1 year where we come and say we need $5 million of equipment this year. We want to make sure, and I think we've been able to build that over the last 10 years. Of we know when we need a mower, we know when we need a crew cab, we know when we need a new spider every 7 years. And that is another increase in cost for a spider. In 2018, Joy, was about $325,000. We purchased one last year for $505,000. Same piece of equipment. You know, just a major cost increase.
Yeah.
Right. So this allows us to start spreading those costs out over a longer period of time while maintaining a very good, solid fleet that's able to provide the services. And then our traffic operations. This is right now $4.4 million in 2026. We did ask for an increase in fiscal year 27 up to 4.76. And I think that's really, to me, some of the initiatives that we've talked about many times. We're able, on the left-hand side right now, I can go in Hank Main's office in our building. You can pull up this map on the left-hand side, click on a lot of the intersections, especially on the northern half. We started with Racetrack Road and 210, where we can click on all those signals. It will allow me to see the video in the top right of where are the conditions. If I call Hank and say, here, there's a problem at this intersection. By clicking on that, he can look at the video and say, yes, Greg, we're seeing traffic backing up. There's signals dark. It's not working. Something's going on. Or there's an accident that's pushing more traffic this way. We're not 100% there. Then he pulls up the bottom right sheet where he's allowed at his desk to make adjustments on the fly in real time to allow adjustments to the timing of those signals. The increase in cost is to allow us to get this system embedded in all the signals in St. Johns County. But really, Racetrack Road, 210, some of our major corridors is where we first did the push, obviously because of the traffic volumes in those areas, kind of heading from north to south. But I want to show this to you because I believe this is where we all want to get to, is that we can do real-time improvements and adjustments from the desktop. If there's,
If we identify an issue with hardware, we can see it in the office and we can dispatch a crew with the correct hardware to replace it when they get on site. They don't have to carry all the equipment, all the spare parts around with them. They don't have to wait to diagnose it until they get to the cabinet. We can do it from the desktop and dispatch them with the equipment and the knowledge of what they need to do when they get there.
if you look at the bottom right, it's an ugly sheet, but the best thing about it on the right, you can see red and green. That indicates what signal is in a red state, what's in a green state. So Hank can actually literally see that. Is it working up here? Is there timing issues? Is something, signals do get hit by lightning and they get thrown totally out of whack and it goes back to a default system. He can do that and get that back up and running the way it needs to be timed. So
any new signals like that are added through development or developers, are we requiring them to have this technology for when we take it over?
Thank you. It's a great point. One of the things that we're working on right now is the standardization that every signal should be built the same exact way. We've been building stuff and then we've been adding additional equipment to it. We hope to bring something back that goes in front of the land development code and said, here's our new standard signal that everybody needs to follow. We'll follow it, and every developer, if they build their own, they should follow it.
But our traffic team is tied into Watts. They're on part of that review process. If there's a major project that comes through, so they can make the comments in there for now to say, this is the equipment that we need. This is the configuration we want, those kind of things. So we are doing that, but we're going to have a more formal, where we don't have to do it every time. We can just, and then also developers or anybody building this infrastructure for us knows what to expect.
We also work with the DOT. They pay a lot for the signals. We maintain all the signals in the county except for within the city of St. Augustine. They pay us a lot for that maintenance effort, but also we are able to see their signals just like this as well. The timing, I'd have to check about the time. I don't think we can make timing changes on the DOT side, right? But at least we can see if there's an issue out there. Do we need to repair, replace something? And we can get to it as quick as possible.
We have the ability, but not the permission.
And then engineering under Dwayne Kent. Right now, this is we have $3.7 million in 2026. The requested budget for 27 is just under 3.3. This is due to a couple of carry forwards that we had in our consultant services line item last year. Then engineering, our construction team. This is right now we're at $900,000 for this current fiscal year. Just the increase up to next year, mostly because I think there's two vehicles?
Just one
vehicle in their requested budget. And just to come up with a summary of the FTE request, it's 1.5, about 116,000, and that again is half of a public affairs person and then a warehouse coordinator. And I know we're going to deep dive into this next week, Joy, but the transportation capital project summary in 27, we're anticipating 43 total projects with an estimated budget of 6.8 million. 7 drainage projects at $8 million, as well as roadway and signals at $58 million.
Okay.
And Hopefully I'm not taking too long. Hopefully, we love talking public works, so. One of the key areas that we're gonna jump into is impact fees. We talked a little bit about this last year, but impact fees really help us deliver capacity improvement roadway projects. That means signal installations, roadway widening, safety improvements, really that generate capacity volume increases. They are a one-time charge applied to new construction, purposes to fund capital projects like roads. The funds cannot be used for operations, cannot be used for maintenance or repair. This is fully for capacity improvements. And I keep going back to this, and Jesse might have more information on it, but the state has made some changes to the impact fees and how there are now credits available that people can share those credits amongst each developer that take away from future dollars coming to St. Johns County. I think we're at $200 million or something last time we looked at credits available.
Right.
So that really hurts us as we get toward these funds for capacity improvements. We have 4 different impact fee zones. The zone A is our northwest, where in the past we were able to support a lot of the projects that you see up here as we move forward. But we're showing 24, 25, 26, and 27 in the lower left-hand side. We had just over $4 million impact fee collection in 24, but we had a very good funding balance with anticipation that we had some major projects coming down the pipeline. In 25, we had less money coming in, but we still had a good funding balance. 26, even less coming in. And you can see us starting to really do those improvements, the 210s, the Long Wheat Pines Parkway, a lot of the transportation improvements in the northwest with 210, that we were able to use those funds for those capacity improvements, which has taken our fund balance now under $4 million in the northwest portion of St. Johns County, which now any other improvements in that area will put a strain on Transportation Trust Fund. And that is our model moving forward, and that's our recommendation to you and the county of how do we fund these projects.
Before you move from this slide, I do want to emphasize impact fees are recognition of an unmet need in the community. That's what they're saying. This money needs to be spent to meet a need. So by spending the money, that's what we're doing. We're meeting that need.
I was going to say the first project up here is our County Road 210 and 2209 intersection that we've been talking about for quite some time. Just our new Gym Night special up there. That is a perfect project set up to receive impact fee dollars and spend on. But in the budget that you'll see, we have actually put money out of our Transportation Trust Fund to support the construction of that project because impact fees are not there anymore. So that takes the Transportation Trust Fund dollars away, which we like to use them on our core mission, meaning maintaining our current infrastructure that we have. So if we use those Transportation Trust Fund dollars on that, we want to make sure that we always protect that to make sure our infrastructure is delivered properly or maintained properly. But that becomes our struggle in the future.
So this is maybe a good time to talk about sort of our financial strategy moving forward. So impact fee in a perfect world, then you're absolutely correct. Impact fee is in place to mitigate unmet needs that are impacted by development. In a perfect world, impact fee is mitigation of whatever that project is. But in reality, St. Johns County has evolved over decades, that there is a lagging of the mitigation happening. So essentially, we're collecting impact fee to mitigate the impact that has happened in the past. And we're trying to catch up. But in the meantime, there is a slowdown of impact fee collection to almost diminish into zero, which exacerbates our ability to catch up the lagging of impact. Sure, there is no more impact, but because there's no new entitlement, but there were old entitlement are still impacting our roadways that to be mitigated with no continuation of collection of revenue. So that's one side. And I'm kind of just going over the facts to think about the strategy moving forward. Transportation Trust Fund is made up by property taxes as well as gas taxes. property taxes most regressive revenue, which is based on the ownership of property, has no nexus to the roadway transportation. Well, there are nexus, but it's not direct nexus to the roadway impact. Gas tax,
Essentially.
arguably, it is a user fee. I do think that moving forward, as we think of our financial strategy to be recommended to the board, a diversified revenue source, of course, to lower the burden and pressure on property taxes is to moving more towards user fees, and revenues are directly tied to discretional services. And that would include transportation, that would probably partially include parks recreation and other public services that are more discretional than across the board, like fire, public safety, and things like that. So, I think in terms of a gap of transportation needs with disproportionate collection of revenue from impact fee, gas tax potentially is something that we need to look at. And that's something that we need to look at maybe for a short term, maybe for a long term, at least for the time frame that can cover the gap that we need to support the roadway system our residents is expecting. And that is probably a longer, bigger conversation among the staff before we can go to the board, ask for their consideration and deliberation on that. And what kind of legal options we have. Is it a temporary thing? Is it a longer term situation? And I think to back whatever recommendation that may be down the road, have a good tally of project gap is important. How much are we talking about? What roadways are so deficient that are unfunded? And what's the financial gap we're looking at? So that may be a conversation in the next few months we can have before the end of fiscal year.
And that's great. I appreciate you bringing that up because that's stuff we're looking at. How can we support some of these major projects, the 210 overpass over US 1, 2209, 210, that's a big project. If there's other ones out there, 2209, 6 lane up to IGB.
Yeah.
There's some other major transportation areas out there that we're looking at. And the other big piece is how do we fund them?
Mm-hmm.
If the support's not there from the state or grants or other opportunities that I hope that some of those come through this year, but if not, what's the long-term solution or plan?
Gas tax has a wide base as well. We all love Buc-ee's, but so do half the people going to Disney.
Yeah.
So, we can collect some revenues from
Truck stuff.
outside, right, from outside citizens, not just relying on our own residents.
Right.
And the interesting thing we talk about with gas taxes, even though the gas goes up, we don't get additional gas money from that.
Right.
If anything, we probably get less.
Yeah,
because
because
people are
it's shift
more frugal.
behavior. Yeah.
And then people like Ben get electric
And EVs.
vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
He's laughing at us. Yeah. So we have 4 impact fees. This is the northeast. The north, as you can see, we had a good funding balance in the last couple of years for these projects, but the trend of the impact fees is steadily every year coming less and less. And we are spending the money. The improvements are actually getting completed. They're moving forward. All these projects that we have underway or completed use the impact fees to some level. But in the out years, we are going to have minimal impact fees available to us.
I do just kind of want to point out too, on zone A, B, and C, we're using impact fees to contribute towards debt service from the 03 and 06 transportation bonds. So if impact fees get to a point where we can't pay the debt service, that portion of debt service out of the impact fees, then that's got to be paid from transportation trust fund or somewhere else.
He said
Transportation trust fund, yeah.
But we pay, I think it's $500,000 from A and B.
A, B, and C.
50 now, right? Is it 500 each?
500.
It is 500 each. Okay.
And even C?
Yeah.
It used not to, but then C started making that money and we had projects in C
Projects.
that qualified.
And obviously our northern part of the county is where a lot of the improvements, a lot of the growth has happened, and that's where the transportation improvements are, and the impact fees are going. The southeast is another area that we have a lot of money identified for improvements. Kings Estate is one of our projects over there. These are areas that have really restrained right away. So I think you heard Corey in his presentation talk about acquisition of property along these existing corridors is very challenging because of the amount of property owners and expectations of what everything should be valued at.
So when we built 2209 from Silverleaf to IGP, we already had the right of way. We had very few adjacent property owners, so we were able to progress through that process pretty quickly. We still had to coordinate with property owners, but it was just a handful. When we're talking about Kings Estate, we don't have the right of way, so that has to be acquired, which is a cost and a time burden, and then just a sheer number of property owners along both sides of the road cause timelines for those projects and costs to go up.
And then last but not least is our southwest. This is impact fee zone D. Of all the impact fees, it's the best one, bringing in a decent amount of money each year. We've identified a couple projects in the area. There's our 208 Town Branch Bridge, the Wee Schroeder Bridge, and then we have another intersection for next year, but this is actually handled pretty well.
Amazing to me is we're collecting more in D than we are in A now, which your
That's
north,
interesting.
your southwest is more than your northwest,
Bringing in more impact fees on
Yes.
an annual basis.
which is never,
Yeah.
just shows you where the growth is moving.
The growth without credits as
Right.
well.
True.
Yeah.
And then just wanted to bring it back, I think you were hitting on this earlier, Joey, is that our transportation trust fund projects right now that would have been supported through impact fees, now we've identified 15 million for the Greenbrier Road widening this year. It's in our budget. With next year, we had 15 million in there for 2209 and 210, and we're even looking to increase that in future conversations. Everybody good moving in solid waste?
Sure.
All right. So, solid waste, are we fully staffed for right now today?
Until
Until
Friday.
Friday, yeah.
Till Friday.
And then one of our inspectors is leaving.
When's
Who's leaving?
Inspector.
Oh,
He's a great guy,
Mhm.
and he's moving out to Seattle.
oh,
His wife got a job there, right?
Yeah.
Not that I don't know that I should say that, but.
he's only coming back.
Well, they went there once and they came back and now they
Oh,
decided to
okay.
go again.
Okay.
Okay. There's a pattern.
It could be. So now we get to talk trash.
Yes. We have a total of 18 people in solid waste that deliver services to 120,000 houses every day. So I think we're already streamlined in our FTEs and they do a great job. We have an amazing team. Where do solid waste revenues come from? We have our MSBU, our non-ad valorem assessment, basically a user fee associated with picking up your trash and disposing of it every day. You see the discrepancy in FY 25, 26, and 27, because in 25, it's the first time we took a $5 million loan from the general fund. We also took another $5 million loan last year. Next year, we anticipate paying some of that back to the general fund. So that's where you see the percentage of our budget increase. We also have solid waste franchise agreements. That's where commercial entities pay us for the ability to collect trash. Our transfer station sales, those commercial entities bring it to our transfer stations, pay a gate rate, and they drop it off to us. And then we had some minor grant last year. Our general fund transfer, you can see how it did our budget in the past, and then some of our miscellaneous revenue. So we have different departments in solid waste. This is our landfill operations. We have 23 million, almost $23.5 million this year. We're going down to just under $22 million last year. The main reason why this is so high, this is our disposal contract with Waste Management, WM, that brings it both from our transfer station, from both of our transfer stations up to Chester Island, Georgia. This is an area that Joy wants to just have a quick conversation. Our waste management contract for disposal ends in July of 2029. I know it's still over 3 years out, but we want to start talking about a strategy for either rebidding that or extending. that will probably be something we'll bring to your attention in the next 6 to 9 months.
Okay.
Just laying out a plan to progress through that and get direction from admin and the board on how they'd like to see us proceed.
Sounds good.
Because that could be a major cost
Mhm.
to this operation. That's why there's benefits of staying as long as we can control the cost.
Mhm.
There may be benefits to rebidding it, but we feel like we have a good partner. They've been with us for 20 years now,
Mhm.
and they've always supplied us a high quality service.
Yeah. I would say, based on our past conversation, the quality of the service they're providing is very good.
Mhm.
So there is no debate about, do we need a rebid for a better quality?
Correct.
So it's really just the cost, and legality. Of course, when we bid the solid waste, we had to, because legal says that it's time to bid. So I don't know, we have that as an option to negotiate a new contract with the same vendor or not. That's a variable.
In our preliminary conversations, we do have that option.
Okay.
But we'll verify that,
Okay.
make sure we go through procurement as well as with legal.
Okay.
Before we lay out the strategy of what's the next steps, and then we need to have that in place now, because if that falls apart, we need to have a rebid in place for a
Right.
certain time frame. And we build in a timeline right now, so in the next 6 months, we'll work through that with you and then
Yeah.
get that moving.
Okay, sounds great.
This is our residential collection. This is our major portion with FCC. This is at 25.8 million this year. We're expecting it to be 27.8 next year. This is based on, you see an increase, and that's purely on the new residential homes that we will provide service to. This is not any cost to the current contract. There's a small cost in the current contract. We cap it at a 5% CPI increase at the maximum. But most of this cost is due to additional services being rendered.
Projecting 375 new homes every.
This amount from here handles, and this is one of the MSBU's. Everything you see right now is a different MSBU. This provides funding for the collection of yard waste and household garbage.
And the disposal of yard waste, right?
And the disposal, yes, sir, thanks. Recycling is another MSBU that we have. This is 8.5 this year, going up to 9.1, almost 9.2 for next year. And again, purely based on the additional homes that will receive this service.
Right.
So it's kind of money in, money out.
We got a little sliver of capital in there for this year, so I did want to highlight on that. We actually, the DEP reached out to us because they had a grant that they wanted us to use. So it was to provide collection of household hazardous waste for underserved communities.
Okay.
So it was about 50 grand. We used a tiny little bit of it to buy a piece of equipment that we needed to run around when we were doing those collections at each site. But we did 5 different collections in underserved areas across the county to collect household hazardous waste almost directly from their homes within their communities, rather than waiting for them to bring it out to one of our sites for us. So it was very successful. We had multiple things to track of how much volume was coming in, how much did it cost. We had to do separate pickups for everything so we could track the cost, but it was very successful. I think it reflects well on our team. The DEP reached out to us to say, hey, we want you guys to spend this money.
Good.
So
This was the Elwood, the Fairground,
Yeah.
the Flagler Estates areas. Long-term care, we do maintain and manage a closed landfill. So that means there's trash out there right now. PAL, Police Athletic League, is starting to really advance their project out there. We have RC Flyers as well as BMX as recreational use out there. But we need to make sure that we're in good standing with our DEP permitting. And at times there are some depressions out there within our current cap. We're evaluating them. This is another one where we feel like we can reduce next year's request in the capital side because of some of the improvements and some of the understanding that we currently have of the need of cap repair.
Okay.
I'll give some credit to our new solid waste manager who came in here with a lot of experience in landfills.
Yeah.
Went out there, analyzed it, working with our team right now to see how we can reduce the cost and what he feels we need to do to stay within our DEP requirements, but also make sure that everything is managed appropriately and reducing our costs.
Good.
And then lastly, this is our MSBU allocation. This went through the process where we advertised it, every person that is impacted by this, all 120,000 people in St. Johns County. We laid out a 5-year program of increases. In FY '27, this is what that information stated to the public, is that the collection of yard waste and household would be $227 a year. Disposal would cost them $92 a year, and then recycling would be $75 a year for a total of $394 annually.
Mm-hmm.
This budget allows us to start paying back our debt to the general fund, as well as being whole moving forward.
Mhm.
You'll see increases in out years of $20, and that's really just for the CPI increase of our current contracts.
What's the current balance of that loan? To the general fund?
It's 10 million.
And we haven't started yet, so we've got 5 the last 2 years, and we're looking to pay maybe $1 million this year,
Okay,
possible.
Plus interest.
yeah, yeah,
And that was kind of done, methodically with the new hauler coming in and deferring the rate increase until after the hauler. And so, yeah, there was a period of 2 years of a loan from general fund.
methodically for the past few years, but I would say that if we kept the rate proportionate to the need of the special revenue, which is supposed to be self-contained, we wouldn't have had a challenge to have to loan money from general fund, but we learn from our past practice, and that's more of an important thing, not only for solid waste, but for everything, that stay current with our fees is so important. Otherwise, it's going to catch up on us 10 years from now.
And that's going to cost us 10 million of what we're getting offered. It's going to cost us
More.
a lot more
Yeah.
with interest.
Are we charging interest?
We are charging interest.
I'm still looking back on that other stuff that we've been.
That's a new phenomenon. It only goes interest only goes one way. So we'll have to review the application of that
We need
policy.
every penny.
So that gets us all again, and that's our expectation is raising it to this limit. And that's going to be the recommendation.
Okay.
Then, any questions you have for us?
Amazing, very impressive amount of workload, the broad spectrum of things, and one of the most important cluster of assets, the parallel utility for St. Johns County. So great job.
And going back to Brad, so I could not be happier when you say pavement management, Timmy, because we talk about it, that is probably one of the biggest assets in the county. If it gets shut down, we can get back and forth, economic driver, everything that it does, but also the costs associated with it. So love for you guys to come over because we talk about it every day. These are things that we dive into of what's our PCI, what should it be, how do we get it extended, what can we do? So I appreciate the opportunity to share with you some of the things we're doing.
Yeah, and we'll see you guys at the CIP session.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds great. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you very much.
And Dawn.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, sure. You want to go through the
Sure,
budget?
yeah.
No, okay, well, wait, it's not done.
Not yet. Here comes the pain.
No. Well, while Wade is pulling up, I think that is a great model, and utility does the same thing, and Parks is started a couple years ago and started to do very similar thing, and Public Works is great at doing data-driven countywide priority and prioritization of different segments of the infrastructure, talking about countywide sidewalk, countywide drainage, countywide pavement. The methodology that you use and other departments start to really use to prioritize these projects is going to be, I think, a standard when we come to the overall CIP priority list.
And I think you set the stage on that. If you're not coming with information, I think we always come with information if we're asking for something of how we measure. We saw that with the sidewalk.
Yeah.
I think other people are seeing how you're handling it, how you're requesting information before you support.
Yeah.
And now they're having to go back and relook at how they manage their assets. And it takes a lot. We've been working on this for 25 years almost.
Yeah.
To build up our information. But proud that Joe Stevenson, our Warnick Tedder back in the day, led the charge that allow us to use the information that they helped create.
Yeah.
All right, getting into just the budget here. So construction administration, I'll start there. They are within the general fund, really because they kind of serve all different areas of the county, depending where the construction is occurring. Here's their budget, last couple years, and then their line item just under $1 million in total, most of that being related to the staff. Transportation Trust Fund is within is a special revenue fund. So here's all the transportation operations. This is just kind of a fund overview, and I do want to kind of stop here. I don't have a separate page for reserves, but I did want to talk about reserves here. They are decreasing. Greg mentioned, you know, with the lack of impact fees, that's putting more pressure on TTF. And this number here really is somewhat misleading because it's 22 million in total. About 20 million of it is related to funds we either received from developers already, but we don't have a project yet for it, but it's earmarked to a specific project. So we have to hold on to those funds and use them only when we have that specific project. As well as agreements we have with developers where they're required to pay us a certain level of funding. We haven't quite received that payment yet. So we have that kind of revenue in there, but we can't spend that revenue because we haven't received payment yet for it. So that leaves about $2 million of kind of TTF unrestricted reserves. And just really from a budgetary perspective, you know, that's could be one change order, unknown occurrence to a project. It could be, you know, one storm event, which we've had conversations with fire of kind of setting up an emergency reserve for those type of events. So, yeah, I know you've kind of had to with impact fees not coming in as there previously were. So, yeah, just concern at the reserve level at this point. So.
And I think it's a great point, and it's definitely concerning to us as we dwindle that down. We're doing improvement, we're doing enhancements in the community, but it is going to hurt us in the long run by using those ETF dollars.
Yeah. So, and it's you know, with 2 million left after this year, it's kind of the end of the line for utilizing excess TTF dollars. So, yeah, it is kind of time to look for what's the next path forward. Yeah. There are separate pages for public works operations, and this is grouping all of your departments into one, your operating departments. We can separate them.
Is it all just TTF?
This is all just TTF.
Everybody but solid waste?
Yes, correct. So, and you can see, you know, public works admin, here's the breakdown for public works admin, and then fleet maintenance. So they're all there. We can create them separately if that's you know, show them separately, a better way to show it. Certainly can do that.
Okay.
Their capital improvement program is listed here. A lot of this is, you know, carried forward from prior years and will continue to be for any projects that aren't completed this year. So, but the detail for that can be found in the capital projects. We don't have a listing of projects here, just the line item information. Then we talked impact fees. Again, there are 4 different zones for roads. I'm not going to go into each one. I will look at zone A. And again, yeah, we want to make sure we have enough reserves to pay debt service. And our philosophy is that, you know, our debt obligations get paid first, and then we can look towards operations or capital. But and then finally, solid waste, which is an enterprise fund. And again, here, just the full overview of the fund snapshot. Again, you see the reserves going down. There is a required reserve in there related to the closed landfill, portion of landfill. DEP requires us to have whatever they estimate for long-term maintenance of it to be set aside as a cash reserve. So I'll have that number. Let me grab it real quick.
that number progressively lowers over the years because as we're meeting our commitment and our
And less
obligation.
years of obligation remaining, correct?
So we do spend some of those funds from time to time as necessary for repairs as intended.
So yeah, it's about 2.4 million of that long-term care, which leaves less than 800,000 of just the solid waste reserve. So
And we need to talk about that because the FCC contracts were budgeted with the 375 addition every month. So the expenditures are budgeted at a higher level than the revenue.
The revenue.
I budgeted the revenues in a conservative manner, thinking
okay,
I'd go with the beginning of, I didn't want to overstate revenue, but we probably need to come to a happy medium because your expenditures should match the revenues. So if we're gonna get 375, we need to budget so that will impact the reserve. Not to fix it to like a $5 million, but it would
Okay.
at least help it. So we need to take a look at that.
certainly.
And you brought that to my attention and I did go back and look at it.
Yeah, I saw the email, so yeah. And then, yeah, solid waste is bundled into operations as well. I know you listed out the different areas, but we can certainly break those out as well. You can see the detail there, and then finally, just, reserves and non-operating. So we said this with utilities, there is a non-operating component of a depreciation expense that's required for enterprise funds. It's not really a cash expense, but it is a required accounting transaction, so it's shown here. So,
How do we get money from the utilities into the roadways? If they put our utilities in, do we have a franchise agreement with them?
I think it would go the other way. They charge you for utility location, relocation. and-
Oh, but.
Yeah. Well, actually, funny that you mentioned this. I was just sending Neil email about the franchise, but it's not a county utility, more of a JEA. They do provide us a franchise fee that supports general government, like they do to City of Jacksonville. And I really would like to evaluate that to see if there's any room for improvement. Because those are easier revenue to collect and less impact on our property homeowners.
The last thing I feel like I'm just saying the same thing over and over again, but we've been so lucky with the amount of money coming in from the state and grants. We support a lot of our projects in the IGP in 16, 2209, that we hope that we get a couple more grants coming in. I know we're going after the 210, 2209 grant with the build. That's knock on wood that we get some of those dollars in here that would help out our reserves.
We're also looking at the railroad grant again. It's started back up for the 210 overpass over US 1. So we had already submitted for that. So we're working with Christine and her team.
There's a workshop I saw that the railroad elimination is back. Yeah.
And Christina and our team, we talked the other day, collaborating on that.
Yeah, that would be a great improvement in that area.
If we can get that one and 2209 through 10, I think through the build grant.
Yeah.
Those two would be so helpful for our reserve bottom line. Let's move forward.
When the 210 wasn't expanded, so the paying threshold is so high, the 210 alternative to S1 bottleneck was nothing. Now you have 210 just flying through an alternative 210, and US 1 is such a paying threshold area.
Yep.
It takes way too long.
yeah, that was the only option before, right?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
We are working on that right now because part of that project can move forward with the additional connection to US 1 on the other side.
Yeah.
So we can still make that additional connection that will serve residents that want to go US 1 north.
Yeah.
So that should help with some of the traffic,
Right.
but.
The
nothing
ramp
like
is
it.
in CIP, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but not that overpass. Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, it's more than perception. I think it's and how you feel about it. It's that people are not getting to 210 more than they did before. Before they probably just go 95 because we gave up. Some of us,
I couldn't agree anymore.
Yeah, and so now you have more people on 210 to get to US 1.
And you always hear us talk about traffic and it's human behavior.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is. If it's painful, they won't go there. If it's easy, they'll take it all day long.
Yeah.
Every day when I go home, I put on the maps and see which route do I want to take home.
And we follow you. and then you
Yeah,
help.
watch them.
Get out of the way to work.
And get the signal right when it's about there.
when it comes to budget season.
Right.
Yeah, let's just dial up a little bit for that pain. All right,
Road.
yeah. Wait,
Thank you,
anything else on this?
No.
Brad and Jesse? Good
Good job.
Good, all right, thank
Thank you for
you.
the
Thank
video.
you very much, appreciate it.
You, funny, but.
You're doing